Welcome to I Travel the World, and on this episode we'll be taking a short journey on the path of history. Pause. This is my friend Godwin. Me and Godwin met in our 10th grade at Liwala High, and we've been friends ever since. Clearly, me and Godwin are having fun. Most of these opportunities have been granted by the hard work of our parents. But there's something in school me and Godwin are not taught. And this goes out to every Zambian that gets to enjoy the liberties and freedom to have such opportunities. As simple as these liberties may be, they are the works and fights of men and women who fought for our independence. This picture is as iconic as the Last Supper. This is Zambia's first cabinet. So me and Godwin decided to visit our first ever Zambian president, Dr. Kenneth Kaunda's home in Chilenje, which is now a national monument, just to pay our homage and respect for everything that he did for the country. Born Kenneth David Buchizia Kaunda in Chinsali, colonial Zambia, then known as Northern Rhodesia, on the 24th of April 1924. Dr. Kenneth Kaunda was the last-born son of Reverend David and Helen Kaunda, who were both teachers. His father was an ordained missionary and teacher under the Church of Scotland. His mother was the first black woman to teach in the country. The residential area of Helen Kaunda is named after her. There's also a library in Washa which also bears her name, as Helen Kaunda Memorial Library. And the David Kaunda Technical High School is named after the Reverend.
This just the case of this guitar. It's coming from his son. That's Angie Kaunda. Kaunda's uniform.
Just like his parents, Kaunda would take up a career in teaching. After teaching in Tanzania, he returned to Zambia to teach in Lugwa Chinsali, the very place he was born. In the year 1951, Kaunda would resign from his teaching position to pursue a life in politics, being appointed as the organizing secretary of province of the Northern Rhodesian National African Congress, known as ANC, led by one of our heroes, Harry Mondon. He lived in this house from January 1960 to December of 1962. In this very house he dreamed, he lived, he loved, he wrote. He sang about his wife, Betty Kaunda, who was our first Lady, and his wife of more than 60 years, until her death on the 18th of September 2012. After breaking out of ANC to form Zambian African National Congress, ZANC, the new party was banned. Kaunda was sentenced to prison, but in the year 1959, UNIP was formed with Mainza Chona as the president. But when Kaunda was released from prison in 1960, Kaunda was appointed as the party president. And in this very house, he wrote the book Zambia Shall Be Free, and he fought relentlessly until we gained our independence on the 24th of October 1964, and Kaunda became the first Zambian president and served for 27 years. The much detailed story about his political journey will be covered in our later video about Zambia's independence.
In future, what we want is to drive it, but you
something you can relate to. Money talking, I'm the conversation. Come to my city, I'm ballin'. I'm feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. Come to my city, I'm chosen. I'm feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. Come to your city, I'm taking over, man. I'm feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. Independent presidential nigga got me feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. I'm feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. I'm feeling like Kenneth Kaunda. Kenneth Kaunda. Kenneth Kaunda.
These chiefs who allowed these guys to come in and sign a memorandum of understanding of the getaway of the land as mineral concession. So this company, which was led by Cecil and this King Lewan, so after signing, they started now dominating the motherland. Colonial history, 1924 to 1964. So after things it started went wrong. So this African in 1980s, that warfare society, it was turned into a political party in 1948 called Northern Rhodesia African Congress, and himself became a leader of the colony. Then they were arrested and detained for 2 months in prison.
Him being one of, if not the only African leader that questioned the United Nations about the cruelty of colonial oppression in other countries of Africa. He deemed Africa not to be free until every African country became independent. He provided refuge for freedom fighters of neighboring countries like Namibia, Zimbabwe, Angola, Mozambique, and South Africa. Our African heroes like Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma of South Africa, Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, and Sam Nujoma of Namibia all seek refuge here. He would seek peace for neighboring countries that his effort of liberation would be heard in many lands. When Nelson Mandela was released in 1990, the first country that he visited was Zambia. Him being one of the most respected political leaders of Africa, as he served as the chairman of the Organization of African Unity from 1970 to 1973. But as a country, we have to appreciate who this man is. The goods and the bads, we all have mixed feelings about him. But we still have to appreciate what he did for us, where he got us to, where he got us from.
Zambia does not have the capacity to strike back at the enemy because the enemy has been prepared for the last 60, 70 years, South Africa, for the last 54 years, Rhodesia. What's more, centuries behind them coming from the Western countries, vested interests. That is the correct analysis of the problem. And unless you understand it in this way, you will be misled by the enemy. The enemy is bent on destroying your Morero, Zambians. We in Zambia are peaceful people, peace-loving. I challenge anyone to say today here that Zambia is a warmongering nation. I met John Foster, the arch-fascist and racist, on the bridge, in search of peace. I failed. Joshua Nkomo came here and said he was going to have another try. I said, Joshua, don't. This thing is dirty. He said, I must try. I said, you are a free man. He went to Salisbury. For weeks he was there. He failed. He was in search of peace. Ian Smith has come here. And I knew I would be subject to misunderstanding by my colleagues in frontline countries, by my colleagues on the continent, by my colleagues and others in the whole world. I have allowed Smith to come here on a number of occasions in search of peace. But I'm a man with a conscience, clear conscience. God is hearing me. I can never sell out Africa. Never. Not me. Not these boys here. Not these girls here. We are men and women of principle. We have done all these things in search of peace. But it has to be genuine peace, based on sincere, genuine majority rule. Anything else, you can kill us. Zambians will be born out of our blood, will continue to fight. We are such a people.
Kaunda was more than a father of 9 children. He was and still is a father of a nation. And all we can say is thank you.
This is a song I sang for Miss Kaunda when I was courting her 60 years ago. We are 60 years married now. I hope you beat our record. I remember the night in your arms underneath